Happy Monday, Astro lovers, and welcome to another week. This is your weekly cosmic weather forecast for the week of March 14th through the 20th, 2022. How you feeling? How you doing? How was last week for you? How was that Gemini quarter moon Wednesday and Thursday of last week? How are those days for you? Quarter moons come around and they can knock you silly. They are stressful, they are annoying, and a lot of times they bring up things that you just, aren't prepared for, you don't feel ready for, and they just zoom it all into focus and they throw it all in your lap. And Gemini energy is, it's just a lot and it's a busy energy. So I know from personal experience, also from hearing from friends, family, and clients that there were some meltdowns last week. There were some panic attacks, anxiety attacks. If any of those things, if you felt like you were just like gonna break down or just not gonna make it, just know that you weren't alone. You're not alone. You're a very Virgo astrologer, and a lot of people in my life reached out and gave their own accounts of what is going on in the sky right now, because ish don't feel right. And that's the energy of a quarter moon. Now, this week is actually a really interesting week because we have a lot of lunar activity. Now, when the moon is busy, so are we. She is up there making a lot of adjusting aspects. Now, in astro speak, these can be quincunxes, they can be oppositions, they can be squares. The moon makes a handful of those very aspects all week long. And not to for anything, but then the most potent opposition that the moon makes this week is one to the sun, which also equals a full moon, because it is when the moon and the sun are completely opposite each other in the sign of Virgo. So this week, although we don't have a lot of planetary aspects, we do have a potent Virgo full moon, which happens on Friday, March 18th, the day after St. Paddy's Day. So we all get to be honorary Irishmen and women on Thursday the 17th, and then the next day we wake up and go, uh-oh, I have a lot to do. So don't overdo it on your St. Paddy's Day, because the Virgo full moon's going to come around and go, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have drank so much. I feel like I need an IV. I feel like I need to take a day off of work. I feel like I just can't do anything. Virgo is an earth sign, and it is also a work sign. And in addition to work, Virgo energy rules health and wellness. So it's one of those things where I'm going to have to nurse myself. And it's a call to nurse yourself, though. And it's health, wellness, self-care, how you take care of yourself, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments. It's going through your to-do list, creating a to-do list, getting organized, systematized. Virgo energy wants all of those things from us. So take it from your Virgo astrologer who loves to be organized and systematized and ready for everything. And I plan, for 3 different variations of how a story or a job or a reading can go down, and be like, oh, okay, great. At this part, if their response is bloop, 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 I have responses and I have resolutions for each one of those scenarios. That's Virgo energy. And so in your life, that's what this Virgo full moon is going to bring up. A call for a solution, or a call for health and wealth, and just, that good old just self-care. I know it's cliche, but you know what? It just is what it is. So you got to take care of yourself. It's a great time to evaluate your diet, evaluate your lifestyle, exercise, movement. And if you've been putting off, any kind of physicals or examinations with your doctors, appointments with your dentist, your eye doctor, all of those things, Virgo full moon is a great time to just, you take the 2 weeks that follow to, just get all those things in order. Get yourself in order. Get your home in order. Tidy up. Clean. As much as I hate to admit that I am very stereotypical when it comes to being a Virgo, I am. And these are all the things that I love about being a Virgo. And yes, I'm biased because I am one. And those of you that are new here, you should also know that this astrologer is not just a sun sign Virgo. I am also Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, and Ascendant / Rising 5-time Virgo there. So trust me when I tell you Virgo energy hits like it does. It hits like it does. Then also this week we have Aries season beginning. Now that will come as a welcome reprieve, I think, on an individual level, because we're going to get out of the Piscean sea where we're just deep, emotional, sensitive, and just feeling and processing and letting things go. Now, in some cases, Pisces really purifies, right? The energy of Pisces purifies, and, yes, it can bring up things from the deep, right? Just like we plunge into the ocean when we get to Pisces season, and we plunge into our souls, and we find out what's underneath there, what's underneath the surface. Like, yeah, it's cool being by the shore. Yeah, it's nice, and we can ride a wave, we can surf, we can kind of get on an inner tube and float, high tide, low tide. That's nice. But Pisces eventually sinks us down and sends us to the bottom of the ocean and says, hey, I also have all this going on. You didn't know these creatures live down here, did you? Or you left them. The last time the sun came around to me, you dumped all this stuff down here, and now you got to clean it up. So, and with the sun meeting up with Jupiter in Pisces, it really expands that and says, hey, let's really evaluate. Now, that was on March 5th. Let's really evaluate when the sun met up with Jupiter. Let's evaluate. Let's evaluate what you left down here, and how do you want to move? How do you want to proceed? And have you processed this fully? Have you let this go fully? Have you embraced this fully? Are you still holding on to a grudge? Are you still holding on to something that is actually holding you back energetically, spiritually? Pisces is all about that spiritual energy, meditation, manifestation. Like, all of those things are wrapped up into this Pisces energy. So those of you who are uncomfortable, particularly the air and fire signs, with all the water energy, well, Sunday, March 20th is going to come as a very welcome time for you, because we will get into Aries season and we're going to get into Mars energy. So we leave the need for processing and we go into the need for speed, the need for action, because now we're talking to Mars, and now Mars is at the helm going, oh, thank you for getting me out of that ocean. I don't like being wet. I want to be on fire. So we pick up speed. Now, I separated and said, I think on an individual level, everyone's going to like this, because it's going to get us into more action and more doing and less processing and feeling and sensitivity. But at the world at large, just know that Aries, being ruled by Mars, he is the planet of war. So it is likely going to kick up our Russia-Ukraine story. Things are going to get more heated. Things are going to get more volatile. So you just have to know that in the background of your life, I want to remind you that I don't go in as much as some other astrologers do on what's going on the macro, because I like to look at what is available to us on the micro, on an individual level. Yes, the outside can be chaotic. There can be war times going on, but I like to say, hey, there's a war going on out there. That means that there is also a war going on in here, within you. Where is that call to arms? Where is that call to say, I'm not leaving my country, or I am going to state my boundaries. I am going to hold my ground. I am going to fight for what I believe in, and I'm going to take action. So that's why You'll hear me say that things can get a little crazy on the outside, and they likely will when we get into this Mars energy. And then when we get to this fall, we have a Mars retrograde this fall, and that is going to prove that's going to be I'm jumping ahead, but that's going to be real potent. And if you remember that the election 2 years ago, that was also a Mars retrograde, and when Mars hit the anaretic degree of Aries, January 6th of 2021, that was the insurrection day. So what Mars retrograde can do is like, push us down like a pressure cooker. So it slows us down, but it's like bubbling underneath. And it's like, oh, it's getting hot and hot, but planet's retrograde, so it's not, it's not doing much about it, but it's feeling it, and it's getting hot, and the temperature is rising, and the anger is rising, and then it reaches the aneretic degree, and it pops. So that was the last time that we had a Mars retrograde, was the end of this is 2022. Yes, welcome, Graham. Hello, welcome. You're in the year 2022. But yes, in 2020, when we had that election, there was a Mars retrograde right in the middle of that, as well as a Mercury retrograde, which, that just really made the whole scene just crazy. But, so, when we get to Mars energy, when we get to Aries season on the 20th, this Sunday, at 8:33 in the morning, we shift into, on a micro level, individual level, we pick up speed, and there's a need for speed and a need for go, go, go. But also that can pick up that Russia-Ukraine story. Now, that also is the spring equinox, and it is also International Astrology Day. So all this week, I would love to invite you, whether you love me, support me, or any other astrologers, oracle readers, tarot readers, Reiki healers, energy healers, whoever you love on a spiritual level and where you get your good spiritual info, I encourage you to show them love. How can you, support them, shout them out, ask people to follow, subscribe, like, all the things, just find a way to support your favorite spiritual folks, because especially in astrology, we got a day. We got a day. It's something to be really excited about. And what I also like about Aries season beginning, being the spring equinox, in the oracle deck that I use, the spring equinox card is also the rebirth card. So you have to think that Aries season comes as a opportunity for growth, expansion, nurturing, and just, it's like misty mornings, and the plants and the flowers are the brightest, and they are green, and they're healthy. This is when all things start growing. So if you just feel heavy, if you feel like there's not a lot happening for you, just know that it is coming. And change is coming, and growth is coming, expansion is coming. Just sit with that for a second. Take that in. That feels really nice. Now, also, on Sunday, we've got Mercury-Jupiter conjunction, which is really nice. That harkens back to the Day of Miracles, which was March 5th, when the sun met up with Jupiter and said, hey, you're starting a whole new 1-year cycle around abundance and luck and optimism and travel, adventure. And, you can look at the Pisces part of your chart to see where that adventure and optimism and opportunity landed for you. And just, kind of look at on and around March 5th and say, okay, what was going on then? Because now when Mercury comes to conjunct Jupiter on Sunday the 20th, well, he's carrying the message. So he's like, okay, so you remember what began around March 5th. Well, now here's the next part. And then, of course, over time, Venus and Mars are going to get there. Right now, they're in Aquarius. So they're riding high. They're cerebral. They're high-minded. They're just thinking and just going like, ooh, okay, like on a big scale. Like let's just fly high. Let's disconnect for a little bit from the emotional experience, and let's just go. Let's look at the vision. Let's look at the hopes and dreams and manifestations of how we can bring people together and how we can connect. And being with our friends, that's where Venus and Mars are. Now, they'll eventually get to Pisces, and they will come and meet up with Jupiter as well. But now, the sun's done it. Now, Mercury's going to come do it. And then, next weekend, not on the 20th, but the following weekend, on the 27th, Mercury will follow in the sun's footsteps, and he will enter Aries. So, this weekend, in a nutshell, a lot of lunar activity means a lot of busyness. We're going to be adjusting. We're going to be taking a lot of action. We're going to be doing a lot here on the ground. And the Virgo Full Moon is going to culminate a story from back in Virgo time of 2021. So think end of August through September 21st of 2021. What did you begin? What did you start? What seeds did you plant? This is the time that that's going to come to harvest. And then we have Aries season beginning on Sunday the 20th, as well as Mercury and Jupiter meeting up. And then, and we've got a couple other things that we're going to talk about in a second. Now, just a couple of bulletin board items to bring up. So, first and foremost, we've got listener questions this week, and we are going to answer them towards the end. And we've got some really good ones. And I love the questions you guys submit. I'm picking as many as I feel like I can answer in a timely manner. So just know if I don't get to your question, that you can always just, if you want to keep asking the same question, totally fine, totally cool. If I don't get to it, the next week when, submit your question, and I'll get to it. So at the end of this podcast, we'll have the listener questions. Now, one of the more exciting things beyond listener questions is that Drunk Astrology is now on YouTube. So if you want to see your astrologer, if you want to see Drunk Astro Studios, go to Drunk Astrology on YouTube and like and subscribe that page, baby, because there's going to be a lot happening on YouTube over the next end of time, from now until the end of time. On YouTube, and finally, more visual. There's a lot of back-end work that goes into it. I tell you, I really give it to the influencers who are doing it. I'm gonna give them a round of applause because, the technical side of these things, oh my goodness. But go subscribe to Drunk Astrology on YouTube. You will see there's my logo. Now, I will say that there are some things around Drunk Astrology, like other videos, but they're not this. Oops, said it. Most of it looks like older content that people really just got drunk and started talking about random things. But, this is the real, the Drunk Astrology for real. So I want you to go, and I want you to see, and we can interact, we can see each other, we can comment live with each other, and there's going to be a lot of conversations had on YouTube. So I'm just going to preface it now. And also, you'll be able to listen to this podcast, watch this podcast, so it's not just going to be, my voice in your ear. You can actually see me. I have a face. I'm real. You can touch me. Well, you won't be able to touch me, but I can touch me and you can watch. And also, not only is Drunk Astrology on YouTube, so go subscribe, Drunk Astrology is also on Yelp. So, I know that I have clients from all over, and I know that I have listeners, thanks to analytics, from all over. So if you like this podcast, if you like Drunk Astrology, if you're one of my clients, regardless of if you live in LA or not, please go to Yelp. Just search Drunk Astrology, in the location put Los Angeles, and drop your boy a review. So whether you like the candles, whether you like my readings, whether you like the podcast, whether you like the Insta, whatever you like about Drunk Astrology, please, please, please head to that Yelp and let the people know. Because there's just going to be a lot more happening on and around the LA area, but also, I've got some other live events coming up. Last year I went to Destin, Florida with the Beachbody crew and did a whole manifestation seminars It was a whole thing. More coming this year. There's going to be more events here in the local LA area. So if you're around in LA, then by all means, please. But yeah, Drunk Astrology's on YouTube. Drunk Astrology's on Yelp. And here to just expand and grow with you. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to all the things. And last but not least, this is not the last week ever, But this is your last week for a couple of weeks to get your readings. So if you've been like wanting to get that 2022 Planet by the Planets reading, just know that this week is not the last week for it, but is one of the last couple of weeks that it's going to be available. As of next Sunday, your astrologer is going on a much needed vacation for one of my best friend's wedding. So I'm going to be out of town, and I'm going to be out of town all that week of the 21st, and then most of the week of that following week. So if you want to get your Planet by the Planets reading, or if you just want a reading in general, I would book it for this week, because your boy's going to be out for a second. Now, don't worry, there's still going to be podcasts. I'm going to be pre-recording everything, so you're not going to be left in the dark. And also, Twitter will have all the horoscopes logged in. Those are also something that I preload. And so you're going to be fine. And those of you on the newsletter, if you're not on the newsletter, go to the show notes and you'll have a link there to get on the newsletter. That will all be preloaded and ready for you too. So your astrologer's got a lot of work to do this week to get ready to be able to take this vacation, but I'm not leaving you high and dry, so don't worry. So there will be links in the show notes for all this information. A link for Yelp, a link for YouTube. Well, if you're already on YouTube, welcome. And a link to the website, of course, if you're ready to book your reading. So just getting all of that out of the way. And now, let's talk about, yes, I cannot wait to talk about this. All right, so we're going to talk about the moon, and then just a couple other planetary aspects. So, Monday, March 14th, the moon is in Leo. Now, let me tell you, Monday is a busy day. That Leo moon makes an opposition to Mars, a quincunx to Mercury, an opposition to Venus, a trine to Chiron, a square to Uranus, a quincunx to Jupiter. Oppositions and quincunxes galore. That is action and annoying and adjusting and changing and having to do things like So just know that Monday the 14th is just, it's one of those like, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to get done what I need to get done. So be flexible on Monday. Tuesday, the 15th, the Leo moon goes void at 3:56 in the morning. These are all Pacific time, so make sure you adjust for your time zones. The Leo moon goes void at 3:56 a.m. with an opposition to Saturn. So that's a slam dunk, right? Some kind of authority figure kind of just says, that doesn't work. And then the moon is void all friggin' day on Tuesday. So really, there's going to be a lot to get done, but you're probably going to be kind of moving like molasses a little bit. We're going to be a little slow. So work on existing projects come Tuesday, because the moon is void from 3:56 in the morning all the way till 9:59 p.m. when it enters Virgo. Now on Wednesday the 16th, the Virgo moon makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 aspects, 4 of which, listen to this, a quincunx to Mars, a quincunx to Venus, a quincunx to Chiron, an opposition to Mercury, and then at 8:25 at night, there's a trine to Uranus. So again, that is adjusting, being flexible in opposition to Mercury, hearing something that you don't want to hear on Wednesday the 16th. Not looking forward to that one, considering I'm a Virgo. So, we're just, remember this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, flexible. Oh, nope, let me not stop there. Thursday as well, the Virgo moon on Thursday. Opposition to Jupiter, quincunx to Saturn, and opposition to Neptune. You hear, we really want to hear trines and sextiles. Those are in conjunctions. We're not mad at conjunctions either. They can either go really good or they can go really bad. But all these opposition squares and quincunxes are just like, oh my gosh, for real? So, and then just know that oppositions are calls to action, right? Something has to get done. Quincunxes, something has to change. So every day this week is just, something's got to get done. Something's got to change. Something's got to get done. Something's got to change. It's just like this back and forth dance. So the more flexible you are all week, the better. Be bendable. Be ready to work hard. Be ready to get things done. And just work through your list, right? If you don't have a list, create one. Then on Friday the 18th, the Virgo moon goes void at 1:11 in the morning with a trine to Pluto. So at least the closing aspect for that Virgo moon, unlike the Leo moon, is nice. So all the adjustments and all the calls to action, all the things that you get done, and you know Virgo moons love to get things done. All the things are in your favor. They are for your benefit with that closing aspect of a trine to Pluto. Now the full moon is at 12:18 a.m., so just after midnight on Friday the 18th. And it's at 27 degrees of Virgo, 40 minutes. So you're going to find 27 Virgo in your chart and say that's where the full moon is taking place. That's where I'm being asked to, that's where a story's culminating. That's where I'm being asked to, focus on my health and my wealth and my wellness. And to look back at Virgo's time 2021 and go, oh, okay, all right, that's what's culminating. Now I need to evaluate what works, what doesn't. And you'll see on Twitter, I'll have a breakdown for all 12 signs. Then the moon is void from 1:11 a.m. Friday to 4:26 a.m. when it enters Libra. Now, when the moon enters Libra, there is only one aspect, which is a trine to Mars at 9:29 p.m., so that's nice. The Libra moon kind of gets a little niceness, but we'll talk about this closing aspect. On Saturday the 19th, the Libra moon makes an opposition to Chiron, a trine to Venus, and now listen to this. Quincunx to Uranus, quincunx to Mercury, quincunx Jupiter, trine to Saturn, and a quincunx Neptune. So it is just having to change. You have to be flexible and bendable, okay? It's all week long. That's all I can say. Now, the trine to Venus and Saturn is really nice. So that Libra moon does make some nice aspects there in the middle of it all. But all together, just adjust, and just go with it, and just be bendable. Then on Sunday the 20th, the Libra moon goes void at 5:40 a.m. with a square to Pluto. That is separative, that is stress, that is friction, friction within power dynamics. So just keep that in mind, that there is just a lot of push and pull this week, okay? Push, pull, separation, and needing to be active and needing to do. There's a lot to do this week, so just be ready for it. Then the moon at 8:45 in the morning enters Scorpio on the 20th and has a quincunx to the sun. Which only 12 minutes before that enters Aries. So, there's a lot going on, okay? Now, planetary aspects that we haven't talked about yet. On Thursday the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, we have a Mercury-Uranus sextile. So that's a great productive idea. That's a great productive moving forward energy. And then on Friday, in addition to the Virgo full moon, we have Venus and Chiron in a sextile, and we have the Sun and Pluto in a sextile. So these are really productive aspects. These are really Venus wants to partner, connect, and make money, and, get attracted to her desire. And Chiron is, she's working productively with the wound. Sun-Pluto sextile is just, Sun is in Pisces and Pluto is in Capricorn. How do we build and create and envision what we want for ourselves? On Saturday, Venus and Uranus are in a square, so an unexpected, something just comes up unexpectedly and you have to just, work through it. You have to work at it, okay? Venus in Aquarius is riding high. She's really thinking. She's really cerebral. She's a little detached from all the emotionality, where the Sun in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, they're all really emotional. She's more I'm in my analytical mode. So I'm going to detach from the emotional experience and say, Uranus and Taurus, I want to do this, but you're telling me I can't, or you're telling me, you're putting something else on my plate, and now I have to figure out how am I going to do this. And then we talked about the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction on Sunday the 20th. Sun enters Aries, and International Astrology Day. Just wanted to say, love on your astrologers all this week, please. And you can do that for me by going to YouTube and subscribing, and then going to Yelp and leaving a review. That's what I'll say. If you wanna love on Graham for Drunk Astrology and the podcast and readings and all the things that I do, then that's what you can do. You can go subscribe on YouTube, and you can leave a review on Yelp. And if you want to leave comments on YouTube, hey, I'm gonna be right there. I'm gonna be right there. I'm gonna be right there with you. Now, the only thing I want to talk about before we do listener questions is Saturn. Now, Saturn just entered yesterday. This is Saturday. We're recording on the 13th. But yesterday on the 12th, Saturn entered the Libra decan of his Aquarius story, of his Aquarius time. And we haven't talked much about decans. I know that I've mentioned them here and there, but the general idea is that each sign is broken up into 3 sections. When you're from 0 to 9 degrees of a sign, you are in that sign's mode, right? So 0 to 9 Aquarius, you're an Aquarius. 10 to 19 of Aquarius, you are in Aquarius Gemini. Well, we just got to 20 degrees to 29 degrees of Aquarius is the Aquarius Libra decan. So now Saturn changes his vibe a little bit. He changes his energy a little bit. Now Saturn represents lessons, challenges, karma, authority, boundaries. And Libra is our VIP partnerships, connections, collaborations. So now what Saturn does is he comes around and he switches now. So now where you see in Gemini, right? Gemini is more like the people. Like people on the ground, small communities and neighborhoods. Aquarius is the world at large, communities at large. So you can kind of look at like, okay, we're hearing about Russia, Ukraine, and then let's actually look at all the different countries and all the different communities and how everyone's on an individual level, on a smaller level, showing support for the country at large. And then also that in your life is like, okay, Aquarius is like looking at your friend groups and your connections and your oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, Graham. Your acquaintances. People that you know, co-workers, people that you work with, and that are just kind of like in your life on a macro level. And Gemini is more like, okay, the people closest to you. People that you live with, people that you are, your siblings, brothers, sisters, cousins, best friends, roommates. Well, now Saturn shifts into Libra or shifts into the Libra decan. So he's still in Aquarius, and he's going to be until next year. But in the Libra decan, he's now looking at your romantic partnerships. He's looking at your VIP relationships, right? Platonic or romantic. And he's gonna bring that Saturnian vibe, that disciplinary, that responsible, accountable. So having to hold partners accountable, or maybe partners are going to be holding you accountable. And so this is gonna bring up some lessons, some challenges, but this is an overall call for building a solid foundation. So where you might be experiencing challenges, you want to look at Libra and Aquarius in your chart. Where you're experiencing the challenges and the lessons is also the need where you need to be super diligent, super accountable for yourself and responsible, and you need to create a solid foundation. That is what Saturn wants. Now, Saturn's going to be in the Libra decan all the way until October 1st. Then he's going to retrograde back into the Gemini decan. Now, he was in the Gemini decan of Aquarius from March 17th last year to August 4th, and then December 13th all the way till just a couple days ago, March 12th. So you're going to get this nice little time, and then what he'll do is then on December 4th of 2022, he'll re-enter the Libra decan until he finishes his time in Aquarius. So you're going to look at Libra and Aquarius in your chart. Now, if you don't know what any of this means, you're going to talk to me, and you're going to reach out and say, Graham, I think I need a reading because this needs to make sense. But that is a big energy shift for this week and all the way for the next few months until October 1st. So, just take a look at Libra and Aquarius in your chart. And if you don't have your chart and you don't know how to do it, reach out to your astrologer. I got you. Now, for listener questions, and then I'm going to let you on out of here. So, had some really, really good ones, and picking them was a little difficult, but I did pick 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first question comes from Brittany, and she said, how does one find the ruling planet for our natal chart, and what's the importance? So to know the ruling planet of your chart is to know what planet rules your sign. So as a Virgo, I am ruled by Mercury. That planet will definitely affect me more and be more potent in my life, more so than the others, especially because I have Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, and my ascendant, all in Virgo. So all of those planets are answering to Mercury. So let's just kind of run down here. So if you are in Aries, your ruling planet is Mars. If you are Taurus, your ruling planet is Venus. If you're Gemini, your ruling planet's Mercury. If you're a Cancer, your ruling planet is the Moon, and you are changing. Cancers are, moody bunches, and I like to say they're moony, because the Moon changes signs every 2.5 days. So your Cancers, you gotta give them a little slack, because their ruling planet is changing signs every 2.5 days, changing moods, changing vibes. If you're a Leo, you're ruled by the Sun. So every 30 days, your planetary energy changes and shifts. And then Virgo, you're ruled by Mercury too. So Virgos and Geminis, Mercury changes signs unless there's a retrograde. He changes signs every about 3.5 weeks. And then Venus stays for about 4 weeks unless there's a retrograde. If you're a Libra, you're ruled by Venus. If you're a Scorpio, you got 2, baby. You got Pluto, which is your primary ruler. And then you got Mars, which is your secondary ruler. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, the optimist. And Jupiter stays in an energy for basically about 12 months, 12, 13 months. But also, depending on the retrograde, he can back into a sign and then, re-enter the sign that really dominates. Like this year, Jupiter's in Pisces for a lot of the year, but then gets to Aries and then retrogrades back into Pisces and then re-enters Aries again. And you have a Jupiter return. Takes him 12, 13 years to visit all 12 signs. If you're a Capricorn, you're ruled by Saturn. If you're an Aquarius, you're ruled by 2. You've got Saturn and you've got Uranus. So it's that Aquarian's such an interesting energy because it is very much the rebel, which is the Uranus energy, and then it is very much so the traditionalist, which is that Saturn energy. So it's like tradition and rebellious all at the same time. And then Pisces, you're ruled by Neptune, but you also have a secondary rulership of Jupiter as well. Sag is more the adventure and the vision quest and actually travel and doing it. And Pisces version of Jupiter, that's the more emotional journey. So, Brittany, depending on what your sign is, now you know your ruling planet. And that's like the energy of your overall vibe is that planet. You can look into like the details, or you can talk to your astrologer and get more in detail. Like, okay, what does this mean for me? But when your ruling planet retrogrades, unless you're a Cancer, because the Moon, or Cancer and Leo, because those 2 planets never retrograde. All the other planets have retrogrades, and so when your ruling planet retrogrades, you really feel it. Now, Leela wrote and said, when are the good parts of Jupiter in Pisces going to happen? Oh, remember, what is available to you is different than what your experience may be. And it's just hopefully empowering knowing what's available to you. So Jupiter in Pisces is a nice placement, because again, it is one of these secondary rulers of the sign. But I would say, we had March 5th, which was the day of miracles. Now, some people did have a lot of people had emotional reactions that day. There was a lot of emotions riding high. Pisces is still that sensitive energy, and that's just what it is. But, Sunday, the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction connected to that March 5th. So hopefully you feel like it's moving you forward, but it is asking you to process. So just know that, yes, there are beautiful things available to you with this Jupiter in Pisces, but also there's just processing. Everyone's in their own process, no matter where you're at in life. And I would say let's point to that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction of next month, April 12th. And when I think, we're going to be starting like a 166-year cycle. So that's, pretty big. But, just go with it, Leela. It's okay. It's okay. There's a lot of other things happening in addition to just Jupiter and Pisces, which can maybe be leading to this question. And then, okay, I don't want to say this. I don't know the name, but I only know the handle. And I think it's Alligator Toady. I hope that I'm not, or alligator to Addie. I'm not sure, but I probably butchered it, so I'm sorry. But they wrote and said, I am a Gemini sun, a Virgo rising, and a Libra moon. What's it all mean? They're very new to astrology, and they're trying to make it make sense. So I'll just give you a basic rundown. Your Gemini sun has a lot to say, very chatty, loves information. Your Virgo rising loves to plan, loves to be organized, has a lot to do. So your ascendant, your rising sign, how you present yourself, your persona is, wow, she's very organized, very together, very analytical, Gemini and Virgo combined. And your Libra moon just wants things to be pretty, wants things to be balanced, wants things to be fair, and just, and, all about vibe and aesthetic, Libra energies, especially Libra moon, I find they really are particular about who's around. Like, oh yeah, who's coming to that party? Okay, I probably won't come. Or I'll tell you I'm going to come and I'm just not going to. So that's your overall vibe. And then, Kate, last question of this podcast. When do you charge your crystals? At the new or full moon? So here's the deal. When you charge your crystals, you don't want to do it at the new moon because there is no light cleansing them. When a new moon happens, you have the sun, moon, and earth in perfect alignment, but the moon is sitting between earth and sun. So the moon takes out the light of the sun, so you don't even see the moon. So if you're going to charge your crystals, either charge it in the sun or charge it in under the full moon, because the full moon is that nice bright light, and it is cleansing and clarifying, and just the overall cleansing effect that you want. That's what you want. So if you're someone who has crystals and you need to cleanse them this Friday, or when you go to bed Thursday night, leave all your crystals out and let that full moon hit, because it's at 12:18 in the morning Pacific Friday. So you want to leave them overnight and cleanse them, mother suckers. And that's it. All right, guys. Signing off here. Hope to see you on YouTube. Hope to see you on Twitter. And I'll, of course, see you on all the other social channels. You know how to connect with me. And I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful, phenomenal week. Mwah.